Dope.
What's
Couldn't
up?
even hear you yet. And it popped up and said requested, and I couldn't even see anyone because it takes like 30 seconds to show when you first start the people that are in here. So I never knows who's in here in the beginning. Yeah, bro, you don't have to mute, man. It's no big deal. If it's more comfortable not to, it ain't no thing. Only if for yourself. But
Right, I just don't want to. If I make noise in the background, I want to mute out, obviously, because I don't want to interrupt you talking.
yeah, it won't. It won't. I got you on speaker, and if you want to just do the same thing, you're more than welcome. It's not a big deal. I was just trying to say that. More relaxed setting here, but yeah. So part two. Essentially, we're talking about Wes Mose, who is. How do you describe him? The assistant or the helper, or does he have an official title?
I don't know if he has an official title I can ask, but he is the definitely like a right hand man, I think, to Chris
There we
Hansen because
go.
he
Yeah.
does a lot of the the
Producer.
overlay of the speaking and stuff. So
Okay, he's definitely a producer then if he's doing OBS and overlay and also participating. Yeah, he's a producer, I'd say. Um, Rachel's mine, so she does the same stuff, so it makes sense. So yeah, Wes Mose and Chris Hansen basically had been targeted for the same kind of harassment a lot of us has received, and it opened their eyes. They ended up going after a person who I won't specify too much on, and that person had been instructed to do what they did by McCrazy. And he didn't care. This is what he does. At first, he didn't care to let the entire world know that he was involved in everything she was doing. She basically came out of nowhere. The only person who boosted her was him. They made a Discord together. People went in there and saw the kind of things they were saying and doing. They got it archived out. There was a bunch of proof. She's even come out to admit that Steve and her sat down and came up with everything she did. So I described what she did in the last stream, so I will not do that again because it's kind of fucked. Luckily, I've been on the internet for about 8 years. And, well, I'm sorry, YouTube for 8 years. I'm a boomer now. I'm old. I've been on the internet since it was invented for Windows. Okay. I used MS-DOS. I used BASIC. I used C++, Visual Basic 6, Fox Pro back in the day. But, early internet, oh yeah, we were in that. Every step of the way. Always had a computer and the internet. So I know some tricks. I know what people are going to try to do. And I make sure to not allow myself to be set up like that. But anyway, so they failed with me. And because they failed so hard with me, they started to target other people. Navy, do you have any idea who they targeted after me? Like, I don't want any too much detail on what they did, but it was me, and then it was Theo eventually. Theo Funtime, right?
hmm oh yeah, yeah.
Was there anyone in between, right? Rachel, you can talk, honey. Is there who? I have no clue about that. I don't know. But yeah, Rachel's here too, obviously, so she might speak up over there.
Nice.
I don't know.
Oh, they get to hear Rachel finally.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I always tell her to jump in anytime. I pace though when I stream on my mobile. So Pacing Jason is what my grandfather called me. Oh man, he was a great man. Yep, yep. If I only was strong enough to be as good as a man as he was. I someday I hope so. So anyway, they targeted other people. Eventually, Wes got a little bit of the same stuff. Basically, they fit the targeting. See, Chris Hansen, I think, will end up um, kind of forming into a little bit of what we've done, as in going in and looking at archives of people's behavior that they try to hide and delete and avoid and deny. Because, of course, the kind of stuff Hanson's always looked for, nobody wants that out, that they've done that, right? And just like anyone who does anything wrong, they want to deny it. Um, but he's going to have to start looking at locales. And locales are very, you'll have a community that will follow around a YouTuber, and you've basically either got one of two things that are going on. Other than their base, people that watch them, you'll have people that may treat them as a locale if they do have that kind of behavior, which is actually really rare. Or they'll just be haters. And Katie's the kind of perfect explanation. She's not really a locale. Katie isn't, not by, her behaviors don't do that. But she definitely has a base of haters. Whereas, it's hard to tell because Steve is a locale, and he doesn't really have a base of haters. It's because his shit he does is so bad. People don't even, why are people going to go around hating on him and giving him attention like that, right? He comes up when he does this kind of stuff. What was the last thing he did, Navy, that was kind of extreme?
Oh, you mean his little kerfluffle that got released on online about what he was doing during a live stream?
That one. But what happened right before that? Oh man, it'd been like what, a few months or something. Oh, his fraud raiser. He opened up a
fraud raiser, the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't file his lawsuit and then lied to everybody and pretended as if it was fine. Then when everybody busted through using the terms of service and showing how he lied to do his fundraiser, and that it was his own choice to not file it, which he should have refunded the money and admitted that he failed and be honest and ethical about it, right? Instead, he did the exact opposite and tried to. We talked about this, so we're not going to go deep, but either way, he is running a fraud raiser as we speak. So, okay. So I wanted to continue from where we left off, and we were talking about basically how he is. This is where we ended. Secret evidence. He has secret evidence. When him and Nate, so Nate was basically on like Modern Day Debate or something, and his name got brought up. And Steve claimed that he had proof that Nate is worse than this convicted rapist, Earl David Warden, which is such a defamatory statement to make in front of 1,000 people on a debate channel who really don't know who Nate is. So they're just going to believe what this idiot's saying. Luckily, the live chat blasted him. And they were like, "You don't have no fucking proof of that, bitch." And he said, "Yes, I do. It'll be released in a few months." You remember that whole kerfluffle? His Nate the lawyer's secret evidence. I just wanted to.
Well, yeah, because he was trying to get this whole thing going where he was going to go after Nate's
lawyer,
bar card or whatever.
He did try. He did.
Oh,
did you ever hear that he did? Nate literally came to me and told me that he tried to file to get Nate's bar investigated, and they literally laughed in Steve's face. They laughed him out of the place.
That is awesome.
Oh yeah,
that's what his secret evidence was. He was going to go to the bar, and try to get him disbarred.
That's the
and
thing,
he had the secret evidence that
his secret evidence was supposed to show that he's worse than this convicted rapist that Steve vehemently supports. Now, nowadays he'll say he doesn't. It took him years to admit that he doesn't, because he does. So that's another main thing I want to bring up. The secret evidence, and then him employing these people. And this latest one that got him in all this trouble is just one of the latest. But employing people to do his dirty work so that he doesn't get banned, he doesn't get sued, he doesn't get in trouble. And then he can sit, if they do go too far, which they always do, he will disavow them, and then they will get mad and come back like Rape Pig did, and they'll say, "Now wait a minute, me and Steve have a contract. We have an agreement, so he can't do that to me. There's no way he did that. So I need to talk to Steve." And they'll go talk to him, and then magically it'll be okay. Somehow, even though he disavowed him, he'll be back in good graces with them behind the scenes. And then people will bring it up to Steve when someone who's not blocked, and he'll do it again. He'll say, "I disavowed them long ago." No, you went to them, talked to them, made up with them, and they are now cool with you after you talk. You didn't go to them and tell them you were breaking it off with them. He literally went and told them that he was only breaking off with them in public because they went too extreme. It was their fault, but he would still support them and he wouldn't throw them under the bus. And that's what we saw on Wes's stream, and that's what woke Wes up, in my opinion. And it's not that Wes did anything wrong. I gave Wes 2 tweets when I heard he had Steve as a voice, when he was using Steve as a voice to describe things about her and stuff like that, right? And I was like, dude, mega fail. This dude's a harasser. Now, I wasn't being mean to Wes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a little bit of criticism in a heavy tweet. I would have said it to him straight out. You know, sometime we'll have to have him on. I know he's busy and he probably won't be able to come on sometime. But if he ever wants to, you know, I try to keep my door open for anybody. But we now get to see in front of us, we all know he's publicly claimed that he disavowed her. But we also have proof that he told her behind the scenes that he didn't and that he would never throw her under the bus. Now, if you listen to Wes Moses' discussion, it's almost like he's like during the discussion, he's saying one thing and then trying to say the other. You know what I mean? He's like, well, what she did isn't that bad. What I see her doing isn't that bad. And I'm sitting there when I'm seeing this and I said, because I was watching T-Spiracy and Julie, and I'm like, hold the front fucking door, bitch. You literally just said that it's okay for her when you were informed a couple minutes ago that she sent nude pics to a minor. Do you remember what he did to that 11-year-old on Twitter? Do you remember that? Or a 13-year-old or whatever it was? You remember that incident?
I think I was talking to somebody about it today. I don't remember it, but I know that there was a thing. It was kind of a little creepy response that he gave to this person.
Well, we're going to make sure it gets to Chris Hanson, but he had commented on someone, and I don't remember their age. Someone else is going to have to say what it is. It was definitely claimed to be under 18, pretty extremely under 18. Claimed. I'm not saying it is. Someone has to fact check it, because I was having someone tell me that they were going to go grab it from the archive and send it over. I don't know if they did yet, but basically, do you remember what it said is what I was wondering. It was, what was it, Rachel?
Yeah, Rachel knows.
You have the picture? No fucking way. Well, we have it from the archive, guys. Holy shit. It says something to the effect of, while she's pulling it up, like, I would definitely, you know, some phrase like, hang out with you, but I wouldn't be there in the morning when you woke up. Something like that, right?
Oh, it was something about would you respect me in the morning? I think is what the person said.
Yeah.
And he replies something like, no, but what you doing tonight? Or something.
Oh, yeah. No, there you go. There it is, Navy. Creepy. There it is, Navy. There it is. No, but what you doing tonight? And I don't even remember, but because this has been so long ago, but it's like, this is the thing. A lot of people don't realize this. This is constant with him. This is what we tried to warn people about, right? You don't want, like EKC, if she ever wants to do you, see, this is the thing. EKC started her channel to fucking harass Katie with rape reports and doxing and trying to frame her as a liar about sexual assault and harassment on people. She never expected that an audience would start to follow her. And so now she's kind of looking at it like, fuck, I started this off. I made a bunch of dumb decisions because if I would just do the thing now, maybe I can actually make some money every month, right? And that happens to a lot of people. But the thing is, I always say channels like that will never make it because YouTube eventually was going to find out what they did in the beginning, and then they're going to end up losing their partnership and get banned. But, you know, you don't have to grab it, honey. I don't care as long as it gets to Hanson. But here's the deal, though. See, here's what you notice what we're doing. You notice what every archiver has been doing. Like, I haven't sent them shit, but all the archivers out there, they've been sending the proof in. So isn't this non-secret evidence, Navy? That's what I want to ask you. Isn't this non-secret public evidence?
Yeah, 100%. Like every time that he claims something didn't happen and people like yourself or Menace or Nate go, really? And they go out to Twitter and they don't even say anything. They just drop the clip of him saying it.
Yeah.
Right? Or they drop the tweet of him tweeting it out.
So
right?
What I want to say to you,
not secret evidence.
Exactly, is he doesn't have evidence. That's why he lies and says it's secret. And people like EKC know this. and they're actively lying in front of everybody for him. And if you look at how he had found out, like Wes is telling him things that Steve knew that she was doing, like messaging underage accounts, nude pictures, unsolicited out of nowhere just to harass them, going into Discord servers that definitely contained many minors and dropping nude photos there, and basically doing a thing where while she's an adult and she would be able to easily find porn communities that would accept her and not shame her, love her, worship her, right? Because that's what they're looking for. Any young girl to come in her early 20s and just start dropping nudes and basically just giving it all away for free. But she started to bomb a community, specific communities, with nudes and sexual harassment out of literally nowhere. But there was an event. I think that's what Chris and Wes have realized, is that there was only one event that coincides. There was a thing that coincides with all of her targets. And ironically, it was Steve McRae. And ironically, he did form his relationship with her fast, early, and exactly at the time when she did this. And of course, that's why he's fucked. This is the start of the fuckery for him, because they engaged in a sexual harassment, targeted harassment campaign on YouTube. And when she went out and actually accomplished what he wanted to the extreme, because it impressed him when she did it. When she tried to do it to me, it impressed him. We have the proof. We have his tweets. We have him speaking about it. He shared it. He boosted it. He even said, Unirock isn't a man because these women don't want him, but they sexually want me. Remember that? What else did he say, Navy? You remember?
I was just more kind of creepy stuff like that. He always talks about that. Like, they want him, and it's just really cringy.
It's really creepy. Like, I really felt like I needed to put bars on my windows and shit when he started talking like that, because that's some creepy fucking shit, dude. Like, why in the fuck is this older dude, this older fucking window peeping creepy fucking it's a lobster creeper for Minecraft. You know what a Minecraft creeper is? It's this little thing that creeps up behind you in Minecraft, and it's green.
But I have to confess, as much of the nerd as I am, I don't play Minecraft.
Well, anyway, though, he's a lobster creeper, so he's got lobster claws on a Minecraft creeper with a Steve McRae face. No! Oh my god, a Steve McRae mask. Oh my god, I'm going to create a Minecraft mod, and every creeper is going to have a Steve mask like Heretic used to wear, and lobster claws. Holy shit, bro, that would be the bomb.com. But anyway, see, that's why I'm a harasser, because I say things like that. You know that? That me making jokes makes me a harasser. But him employing mentally ill people that have experienced extreme, by their own claim, God knows, but by their own claim, extreme, whatever they said it was. And then because of whatever it is, they can't control themselves around sex, because that happens to people. That's the one thing I'll say. I kind of do believe she's experienced some kind of trauma. I don't know what. Right? But the point is, that trauma and that angst and anger and depression and anxiety and that twisted mindset that's torturing her wouldn't have been. It's like a one of those like Street Fighter 2 fireballs where the dude goes Hadouken and it shoots a fireball out. The power of her harassment, Steve McRae channeled into a Hadouken at each of his enemies, right? His criticizers. Because that's what a lot of the people had in common that it happened to. Ironically, then, when he realizes that everybody archived everything and he's fucked, because she did something Cheshire didn't do, because Cheshire did the same thing. She just tried to lie and say that we were all committing crimes. Remember when she would accuse us of all that crazy shit on her channel when she'd get mad at us? Because of Steve.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So that's what she did. So each of the women that he uses in that way would go to their extreme right? And at least the thing I can say for Cheshire is she didn't let Steve talk her into doing what he talked the other one into. She just accused Menace of being a drug dealer a million times to kids and shit and all this stuff. And he did too. The king of he's literally the king of defamation. That's going to be his locale title. It's going to be something that has to do with defamation because that's all he does to people. And he's really bad at it. But either way, yeah, so I'm hoping Hanson and Mose take what the archivers are giving because it's free. There's no condition on it. It's been done to a third-party website that has nothing to do with any of us. It's done by a standard so that it can be used as evidence for investigations, either criminal or internet, like video type thing. And, you know, if this was, I'm just going to say this, if even 10% of what he did and 1% of what she did was done in person, and no, I don't mean physical, I mean she was in my community or in the community of her target, sending it through like the mail or the phone instead of the internet, they would be in jail right now, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That literally.
And it would be lambasted everywhere. You would be nowhere to hide. You know, it'd been crazy.
Tell me this, Navy. What would be the word you would use? It's probably 2 words, but the term you would use to describe what she did for him. Just take guesses. If you were just to describe it.
What she did for him?
Yeah.
Targeted harassment?
Targeted harassment of what kind of nature?
Sexual targeted harassment.
Okay. Now.
Like she literally tried to break you and Rachel. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, she definitely she was trying to ruin my life. And isn't it ironic that he's sitting there saying like these women want to fuck him, but they don't want to fuck Uni. And then he employs her to try to fake a thing to break me and Rachel up, right? And this happened for real. This is absolute. This is real. Nobody can deny this. Now here's the deal. What do you call what he did to Katie that started all this in June of 2019? What would you call that? Because I'd call it targeted sexual harassment.
Definitely targeted harassment. It started off because he said sexual things to her that she found uncomfortable.
She said he purposely said sexual things to her in front of everybody. All of them went to him and said, you can't do that. He said, I won't. And then when Katie and him were alone, he did it again. So what he did to her, then in a stream right after that happened, we have it recorded. He looked into the camera and talked about how, and ladies, if you want to mute for a minute, I understand. Ready? 3, 2, 1. He said he wanted him and all of his friends to push their penises together and climax in Cheshire's mouth while Cheshire is there and while the friends are there in the call. And he starts saying the most grossly sexual things to Cheshire. She gets extremely uncomfortable looking. Even his friends are giggling in an uncomfortable way. And then he looks deadpan into the camera and he repeats exactly what he did to Katie when they were alone. It is exactly what she described. What he did to her, he got so mad when he found out that she ratted him out to everybody by saying he made me uncomfortable in a side chat. He looked into the camera and did the same thing he did to Katie. And we have that video. We've sent it in. So that what I'm trying to tell you by bringing these things up is that it's not just a single instance of targeted sexual harassment through the internet. It's also a very much repeated instance that he does this. And what he did with her, they targeted many people. And if I wanted to get deep, and I don't because it's late, I could list many other examples of where he has done this because somebody either, exposed him, ratted him out to his buddies, told everybody what was happening, criticized him, debunked one of his really horrible philosophy arguments because they're so easy to debunk. All of these people would get that. In fact, that's what the most famous clip is when it comes to non-sec, where he tells a $50 patron to cancel their patronage to non-sec and cusses them out and freaks out and puts him down and jumps out. And you know, that led to Kyle wanting to kick him out. And then it was the sexual harassment of Katie that literally made Kyle kick him out. But anyway, in the end, what I think that Hanson and most should do is what Hanson's always done. You take the man, you're on the internet now. You're not in person. You're not doing that kind of journalism. And it's going to be hard for Hanson to really understand that difference at first. And he's had enough time now seeing how other commentary creators, because in the beginning, what commentary creators did was they started to get on him because he was going out on YouTube and pulling all the data together from what everyone had done. And he was basically covering stories, which is what every commentary YouTuber on the platform does. None of them has the scoop ever. It's always from someone else. Always. So, unless it's the rare story where the commentary YouTuber is the subject, right? So the point is, he had to learn, like, yeah, there's a lot of difference between journalism. In fact, I'm sure he was exposed to that kind of like competition there. But anyway, and the internet. So I think that going after the type of people who use YouTube and the internet to do it in the most kind of cowardly way, which is like sitting down in the Discord server, meeting with a group of friends, saying, what can we do to punish this person for challenging our authority, for challenging us, the God Kings? He used to call himself a God King all the time. The dude's crazy. And they come up with their plan, their little like thing they're going to do. They enforce it. They get it together. Like when they used to get together and dox Crafty when they got mad. When they got together to try to dox me, which we have a video recording of that Chris Hanson's getting. When he's doxed many other people. When these are all things that he gets together with this tight little cult of his and does. The problem is, the more and more and more that he would get them in real world trouble or get them exposed or not pay them like he promised, his cult has shrunk so far that now he only has a couple left. And it's kind of fucking, you know, remarkable. But either way, it's going to be really interesting if Hanson and Wes pursue this, because I think they will, you know, I think they'll be able to do the. I think for the first time since Hanson was on NBC, he's going to be able to have the same kind of success that he had with an investigation. It's going to be a thing that totally happened through the internet. Even the end plan for what they were doing would happen on the internet. Did I say that properly? Because I know it's like hard to say. So.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to really just kind of expose. I mean, he's already done it with that one person, and now there's a chance for him to do it again with someone else who was one of the, if not like the biggest instigator of her craziness.
Definitely.
Her harassment against others. Because, I mean, you talk about like she would step into communities that she had no part of and just start randomly sending people this stuff without their permission, without them asking. I'm talking people who are married, people who have girlfriends, you know, just like in people who at one point in time had stated to her that they were underage, whether it was true or not, or it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And, you know, if she has some type of issue, she's got to admit that she needs to be checked into inpatient treatment for a while so she can stop exposing these types of images to random people, so that she doesn't do it to someone that she shouldn't again for the 100th time. And regardless if they're married, in a relationship, or even single and just not wanting it, you know, if you don't know that they want it and you send something like that, that's just wrong, right? It's just wrong. You never know. You're not giving them the option. And why would you want someone to see you like that unless they want to, you know? And I mean, there's no logic to it. And she didn't do this. There's no record of her doing this to anyone until he had her do it to me. When I say that I'm going to have him investigated, I'm not fucking kidding. Like, if it can happen, it'll happen. If it can. Because you just, like, I have all the evidence that this man attempted to sexually harass me through a woman. Isn't that insane? I've never talked about this publicly since it happened. I haven't even reconciled it. You know what I mean? Haven't even really reconciled it yet. You probably know more about it than I do. Because a lot of times people would be like, holy fuck, what are they doing? And I would just play Tarkov or go to bed. Because I was like, dude, this is too much.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck it, I'm going to bed.
It was sick and it was crazy, like faking DMs and stuff like that to try to, like I said, the whole thing about them trying to get in between. Like, this is a man who hates people so much because they hurt his feelings, his narcissistic injuries, and all this kind of stuff.
With basic criticism, Navy.
Yeah.
I'd understand if I'd fucking murdered his dog or punched his fucking mom or something. All I did was criticize the fucker with words, and I wasn't even that harsh.
And he's just mad because he fails at everything. Like, he literally is the king of failing.
You know what pisses me off, though? He is jealous of me doing good anytime I do good at all, right? But the thing is, he met me knowing that when I typically do my thing, I'm like usually 4 times bigger than I am now. I'm not being cocky. I'm just seriously going by analytics. I typically get between 5 and 12,000 views when I'm constantly uploading on Unirock 2, and would have at least 200 to 300 people when I'm fucking bullshitting on a stream. And we could have as much as 6, 8, 12, 15, 2,000, 3,000. It's all recorded. And what gets me is if I do 1/15 of what I used to do, he gets so fucking jealous that he's got to sit there and fucking just seethe. He tries to contact and get into any scenario I'm in and go in and lie. He'll go in and lie. And when someone comes in and calls him on it, he'll fucking be like, he'll get pissed and he'll block him and he'll run off and have an explosion. But you know what? It's funny. Like, I don't understand what it is about me where I can literally give a logical, critical breakdown on something that is what I hope, not what I think is, what I hope is well-spoken and understandable by people in many countries that speak English. That's my goal anytime I make a presentation. And doing that, maybe I am better at this than I think I am, because how does a person dedicate their life like this to someone that just criticizes them on their public stuff at the most basic level? I can't figure it out. I can't fucking figure it out, bro.
I mean, I think, honestly, I'd tell you the truth, I think it's pretty simple, right? Is we see what happens, right? So we had things happen with, the NSS and all this kind of stuff. That turns out to be, oh, he got the channel back. And what's he done with it? Fucking nothing. It's a failure. Everything else he tried to do, lawsuits against KJ, failure every time, right? NDAs, ROs, and just everything just stacks against him, right? And so he's grasping at straws, and those straws are you and KJ. And when he kind of realized recently that going after her didn't do a damn thing because she don't care, and this stuff that's happening with her is most likely going to fall through, right? Like his did. He's super mad, and so he focuses back on who else can he focus on? Well, he's got you, right? And so he's going to do this, and then so he focuses all of his little simtitude and
his rage, bro.
His super rage.
We are a cure for his rage. Like, it makes him feel better. And Harley's sitting with me. He likes grumping and growling at me, don't you? Were you in Discord when he was trying to fight me for my hat?
Yes, I was. I heard him. Yes,
was he pretty loud on the mic?
Yeah, you could hear him growling at you. It was pretty funny.
He's pretty loud when he does that. It's really cute.
It was hilarious.
I want to do it on a stream sometime. Maybe I'll make a video of him playing. I don't know.
Well, and the thing was, this is one thing that kind of cracked me up is that he was on with Wes, and one of the things he tried to do for this person was, and the funny thing is, Wes gave him all this evidence. This is what this person's been doing, even to me, right? And all this kind of stuff, and it's not okay. It's not okay that they do this, right? He literally tried to defend them, right? And one of the things that he said was that, well, this person,
right?
Yeah, this person just doesn't understand boundaries. You know who else doesn't understand boundaries? The man that breaks into your home and tries to steal your shit. Understanding boundaries is like, what are you talking about?
That's what consent, the basis of consent and violating it is somebody violating your boundary. And we're not talking about public boundaries. Like, if I want to do a commentary on Katie Joy, as long as I'm not going to just fucking call her names, insult her, put her down, hate on her, if I'm going to actually give a scenario she can succeed at, a scenario she can fail at, give criticism, make a point, do a joke, fine. But trying to weaponize a woman, like, I don't understand how he is still on fucking YouTube after what he did with her. You know, I don't get it.
Well, and the funny thing is, and this is what's even hilarious about that whole interview, is that he's sitting there trying to defend this person's actions and all this kind of stuff. Within the interview, he himself states that he told this person to stop, and even after he told them to stop, they continued.
He lied though, bro. What he's doing is lying.
Yeah.
He might have told her to stop, but it would have been months into the campaign.
Oh, I think.
Now, do you recall January? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I don't like what happened was, and he admitted this on the stream, that they still talked, right?
Yeah, they talk daily. He literally has a relationship with her. He just won't admit it.
If this person is harassing you, you don't like tell them to stop and then continue talking to them.
You know what he thinks? He thinks that she doesn't leave what she does with him and go out and tell people about it. She's got the biggest fucking mouth on the internet. Everybody knows what he's doing with her, and he thinks we're fucking stupid. He really thinks he can lie his way out of what he's done and what he's doing with this person. You know, like, the only reason they're not living together is because he doesn't have a house or a car or any food or any money, and he lives in a closet sitting on a fucking van seat. So there's no room. What is she supposed to do? You know what I mean? Where's she going to sit?
100%. Where's he going to sit? Yeah, no. Between him and his ego, there's no room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you recall in 2018 January when I had put out my conclusion of a basic investigation that was going to be looked at and archived into a serious one, that he was running targeted harassment campaigns against people online that he was mad at?
Yes.
I declared this. So he had a reputation as a normal YouTuber, okay? I went and interviewed everyone I could. I did my fucking job that I've done in every story I've ever covered, because he doesn't get it. I earn my fucking views. He knows I do, because he sat in Discord a couple times while I was working, okay? And witnessed the work I do for fucking 8, 9, 10, 11 hours straight a lot of the time, and still had the fucking nerve, knowing that I do it daily and barely take days off, to try to go out and convince people that I don't do shit and that I don't know what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. And you know what I think, man? I think he fucking convinced himself, because he doesn't realize what he's done. He doesn't get it. In the same way I took Molly to YouTube for what she did to me, I'm taking those two to YouTube after Hanson's done with them. I am taking what he did with her and the proof of it to fucking YouTube, and I'm going to turn it in. Now, I don't know if it'll have any effect, but every time these fuckers do this to me, that's what I'm doing from now on. And the thing is, was I not right that he creates targeted harassment campaigns with anyone he can around him on any campaign he can if he gets mad at somebody? I think we've seen it now enough. It's just provable.
So, and the thing is that if we remember back to the origin of a lot of this, right? Well, not the origin, but like, because the origin goes way back further, right? And we have people that have told us tons of stories of him doing the same shit.
Sure.
But remember back to the beginning of the whole, the whole thing with so he brought this up, right? Because he can't help but bring up the NSS when he's talking to anybody, right? Somehow he's got to link it to KJ and the NSS every fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings up with Wes this aspect of like, what happened with Kyle and all this kind of stuff. Well, we remember, and we had the clips from back in the day when he was convinced at the time that there was nothing he could do. Right?
Yes. Now, not only that, he admitted that he and Kyle sat down to do a contract, and that he, as an adult, chose not to be a partner of NonSec and not sign a contract and just hang out. And we have him admitting this. And yet he still thinks that because he went to court and lied on Kyle, that it changes history. He thinks that if he goes in and somehow gets a judge to make a judgment, that he can flail that around and call us liars, when we have the video clips of him admitting this. We have the blank contract that he didn't sign. We have interviews with everyone who witnessed and heard from Kyle and Steve that Steve wasn't going to be a partner of Nonsec. He was just going to hang out because if he makes additional money, he won't get medical treatment or some shit. Now, listen, if you make a business decision like that as an adult, you don't get to go in and sue the motherfucker because he blew up, because Kyle blew up and turned the channel into a success. You don't get to say, damn, I should have fucking signed that contract. I'm going to take him to court and undo everything and pretend as if we did sign the contract, because that's what he did to Kyle. And it's sick. It is sick that he fucking still brings Kyle up. If he was smart, he wouldn't.
Well, and what I think he does, so here's the thing, right? Because what happened with that whole case, and it was a clusterfuck, right? That whole thing was a clusterfuck. But the thing is that it empowered him, right? That's why he's bringing it up, because the thing is that he uses it as validation for going after other people, right?
Well,
so because of what happened with this, and I won this settlement, this, that, and the third, when I tell you that this person, KJ or Uni or Menace or whoever is attacking me, you need to believe me because I won this one thing, which wasn't even a win. It was a default judgment, right?
Well, listen to this, though. You know what we can prove to everybody, even Chris Hanson? We can prove that what he did was choose as an adult not to sign the contract, then exist on Nonsec happily in the state that he chose to be in. We can prove Nonsec blew up. We can prove then that he started to plot a takeover of Nonsec. It's called the hostile takeover. Then him and Reds tried to do it when they knew Steve was getting kicked off because of the sexual harassment. Then we can prove that he left Nonsec and started his most massive harassment campaign. You know what Steve forgets? That we have all the evidence of what he did to Kyle Curtis, a gay man, but either way, it's still sexual harassment, targeted harassment, and everything else that happened to Kyle. And it was done literally because of him and his direction and his order. And we need to get that into Hanson too, because he brought it up to Wes. It might not be super fucking relevant, but the thing is, he did target Kyle. Everybody's forgetting because of how much he's done to Katie in the last year and a half, 2-3 years, that for 2.5 years straight, he literally tortured and he ordered his audience that actually watched, a couple hundred people would watch him back then, and ordered them to harass, threaten, stalk, and torture Kyle, a gay man, for being gay, for being someone who tried to get out of prison, fix his life, start a business, right? And that was the goal. You harass Kyle, you targeted harass Kyle to the point where he's so scared he won't come back to the internet, which I literally had Kyle show me his inbox. You would not believe the amount of death threats that involved him being gay in them, literally, because of Nonsec and Steve. Though that's not even the biggest point, because he did that to Kyle and kept the pressure on Kyle while he sued him in court. And he was trying to get a win that would happen without Kyle being there. He was trying to get it over with and default it to him without Kyle showing up. And Kyle, of course, was so harassed, threatened, and they literally, listened to this shit, stalked him in real life, went to his town, found him, called the police on him, got him fucking and, tried to get him arrested. And then all that other stuff happened later. So they physically, in the real world, stalked Kyle, Reds, Rhetoric, and Steve. And the thing is, you know what the kicker is here? They admitted it. And when people told him that it was internet stalking, because they didn't know Kyle, they'd never met Kyle, ever. When people said, dude, you just admitted to being an online fucking stalker, dude. They go, no, because he deserves to be in jail because he's not showing up to court. We're just bounty hunters. No fucking joke. He didn't even have a warrant out for him, and they're out there trying to fucking do that. They were trying to get a warrant created for him while they were stalking him, is what it was.
Yeah, literally stalking. Yeah.
So this is the thing. Hanson will, in my opinion, I don't think he's homophobic or anything. I'm not saying he is. I think he'll respect the fact that Steve also stalks gay men and harasses them for their sexuality. If you recall, I'll just say it, we're on Twitter, rape streams they made about Kyle. Remember all those? We have them.
Oh, the prison jokes. Yeah, there were a lot of prison jokes
The,
made by
the
him and a
fucking
certain
like
friend of his.
hours long rape streams where he would go to prison and have barbed wire on a baseball bat and all this.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And they just
So it's
they
like
chucked it up. They thought it was hilarious.
they thought it was fucking hilarious. Well, you know what's hilarious, Steve? We saved it all. And we did our thing. We played video games, laughed at locales, had a good time, covered stories, and every day we saved what you did. It only takes 2 seconds, the push of a button. And we're going to give it all to Chris Hanson. Because I think that harassing a gay man and harassing a woman and harassing a man is the same thing. Harassment, sexual harassment is harassment.
Well, and I don't know if you remember this nice little like live stream that he had, but there was one time when he had I think you remember this, is that he had met this fitness guru on the internet, right? Named Jim Jules.
Yep.
And he brings her on his panel. It's him and I think it was like Cheshire Manian, and I can't remember the blonde woman that was on there, but he also had Pro Doxins on there, right? And
Yep.
Jim Jules. And
What ended up happening with that?
Well, the thing was, so you watched this stream, and this is where it's kind of like the reason I'm talking about this is kind of the back evidence in the way he treats women, right? And the reason why him using sex as a weapon or whatever is not, something that is out of his wheelhouse.
Well, it's constant, dude. It's constant. Yeah.
He gets on there, and I remember seeing this and just cringing because even the people on the panel were cringing. So she's giving this like story about how she used to be like very overweight, and she like, found the motivation to, start this channel to get down. She's lost like 150 pounds, got into real good shape and all this kind of stuff. And he starts making these comments about her body on the live stream.
Yeah.
That two other people on the panel had to jump in and kind of like, oh, he's just kidding or da 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 da, and try to explain why he's making these lewd comments. The other panelist, and like I said, I cannot remember her name right now, was on there. She literally like put her like head in her hands because she is embarrassed to hear him talk to this woman this way, who is his guest on this show.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, dude, if we wanted to, we could literally sit here for 4 hours and just go for 2 minutes each on everything that's happened. We really just need to focus on the examples when we turn it into them of him using sexual things towards the people as part of what he's doing. Because I remember sitting there watching them do this, and I was telling everyone in my Discord, guys, we're just archiving everything. Because one day it's going to be a big story. We're just going to archive and archive and archive so that everything's there. And then anyone that wants to come in, any big YouTuber, any small YouTuber, any medium YouTuber, any investigator, any person in the media that comes in can then take the source material, and hopefully what will happen is they can pursue. It's like what Steve doesn't realize is what he did then and what he's done this whole time. It doesn't go away. Like, he doesn't just get to do that shit. It doesn't matter if it's 2 years from now or 3 years from now or yesterday or 6 months ago. He doesn't understand that we literally watched this man build a legacy for years of what we're saying. Have you ever on the internet, ever, I mean, Shani, I mean, anyone, have you ever seen anything like this? Ever? Like, can you name someone that if you sat down and put all the stories on the table, could you name someone that's worse than this that happened here on the internet over a long period of time and didn't get banned or anything and just kept doing it nonstop?
And it's like he took the worst parts of every bad YouTuber out there and said, hey, I'm going to do all this stuff.
Right? With a sexual ding.
Right. A certain DSP type aspect to it, right?
And well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I thought to myself, and I don't know why I do this because I always disappoint myself and it makes me laugh. But I was like, there's no way this person could fail any harder. And Steve literally looked at me and said, hold my prawn. And I was like,
no, dude. Yeah, hold my crustaceous corner here. Okay, listen, dude. Fucking, I said it in 2019 in December and then January of 2020. And ever since, anytime he has an event, there's no way this story gets any more crazy. Now, people would get mad at me and say, dude, why are you still talking about this? Stop talking about this. And I'd say, I'm doing my damn job. I'm explaining it. I would do a stream on Periscope, when I wouldn't do anything, if I was exercising, because I walked for an hour or two a day or whatever. And I would catch everybody up, however long it took, with what was happening, if it was major enough to be an update to the story. And it was just, it's even now, like we said back when he tried to sue Kyle, that there's no way the story's going to have anything else happen. And then we had fucking somebody go and prove that they had paid off one of Kyle's ex-boyfriends to go and testify with them in the lawsuit. Now, here's the kicker on that. They also made part of the financial arrangement that they admitted they paid him, and tried to say it was normal for this guy to go on live streams on Red's Rhetoric's channel, which I do believe will be struck on YouTube someday, no matter that he deleted them or not. And they sat and interviewed, they stalked an ex-boyfriend of a gay man and interviewed him and shamed him for his relationship, his life, his sexual practices, his choices. And people, for some reason, think that I've forgotten Kyle because Kyle went down a spiral into drugs again, and because of Steve's actions, and he's teeter-tottering on the edge from the last time I talked to him. He's almost gone. And I do think one day I always worry that I'm going to find out that something bad happened with him, because no matter what I'd said to him that whole time, I never could convince him that it was okay. I never could, man. Like, it's one of the most depressing parts of my internet existence, thinking back with Kyle. Because I was always, you know how I was with Molly, you know how I was with Katie, you know how I was with Steve. Everyone's seen it. Everybody hates it. They go, Uni, why are you trying to fucking get through to these people? Why are you trying to get them to listen to you? Why are you trying to fucking hear them out? Why are you letting them talk? Why are you doing this? And the answer is because I get through to them. It always works in some way. I got through to Kyle. I got through to him and I helped him, but I couldn't do it enough. I wasn't good enough. And he just couldn't he was always so ashamed of who he was because of life things I won't ever go into publicly. He always had a deep shame that I mean, he's a handsome guy. He's charismatic. He desired, whether you believe him or not, to change his life. And he'd always try to do the right thing, even though he had a demon on his back. But the thing that I think did it, man, was the constant DMs, messages, emails. And if he tried to shut down every account he could, they would mail him. They would send stuff to him. They would find him. They would track him. They would go to his boyfriend. They went to another boyfriend after the one that they paid. They went to another one of his boyfriends, the one that he got in a fight with. So what do you do when you have, and then Steve forgets that he posted this shit. He forgets that I'm going to fucking give Wes Most and Chris Hanson 2 fucking years of him stalking and shaming a gay man until that man who was doing great in his life relapsed on drugs and went down the spiral into depression. And I'm going to give it to him. And I hope to fuck, since I couldn't ever do justice for it in any way, maybe Hanson and Most can try. They might not, and I'm not going to get mad at them if they don't. But I'm going to try, because his story needs to be told as it was. The truth needs to be told. Like, objectively, someone needs to look at what Steve did to Kyle and what Kyle did to Steve. And when you look at it, Kyle gave Steve an option as an adult male to either sign a contract or choose not to be a partner. And we have DMs, we have the contract, we have Steve's admission. He probably admitted 40 times on different live streams that he chose not to be a partner and sign the contract with non-sec. And I don't know how you can't give that to a court. I don't know how you can't give it to a court and say, Your Honor, here's proof that Kyle didn't fuck him over in the business, that this man is coming in and lying to you to try and harass Kyle. He didn't sign the business because he wanted to keep his monthly welfare check and whatever the fuck it was that he said on his stream. And if you make that choice, how does a judge let you undo I thought the contract was what it was for. I thought that's what it was. If you want to choose to come sit on my show, you're a free person, and I'm going to let you do it. That's okay. I'll be nice to you. He's the reason why people don't let a lot of people come around him when they're YouTubers. People like Steve. Stalkers. He is a fucking stalker. And he can't say he's not. He can't say he's not. He has to admit that he stalked Kyle. He'll just give an excuse. He'll say that he was like, he'll say that somehow it was okay or some shit. But the thing is, also, Red's Rhetoric stalked Kyle. Bull stalked Kyle. A lot of people stalked Kyle because they ran a targeted harassment campaign. But it was a big one because they ran it with the audience of non-sec. That's why they lost the non-sec audience. As people started to realize that they weren't doing some justice to Kyle, but that they had been led astray to fuck Kyle over and steal his business and destroy him because he didn't want these narcissist fucking sickos around, Reds and Steve, they bailed. And that's when the targeted harassment campaign shrunk. Do you remember how bad Twitter was when he had like 20 people helping him run stock accounts and like bombing people? It's still horrible. On Twitter. It's still there if you look. It's fucking.
And even at that time, he was tweeting like what did we calculate it down to? Like every 3 minutes.
Every 3 minutes. Now that's if he didn't sleep. That's if he didn't sleep.
Right. We know he passed out.
And it wasn't just him. He would go, and what he would do is he would tag in what he called his enforcers. They literally called them this. They would go. Him and Red's Rhetoric would tag in the enforcers, AT2 and all these other people, and Sean and them, and they would come in, and they had these other people watching their accounts, and they would tag in people, and I proved this in several live streams, by the way. This isn't made up. And then they would have sock accounts, because you'd notice they were switching, the people that were coming in harassing were switching their account, but it's late, and I got to go, and we've been on for too long. The main thing here is that I just hope, I really hope that Hanson and Mose do something. If they just even show the worst things he's done, it'll be enough, you know?
Well, and one of the best things is that, and I think we talked about this before. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but Suge made a video, and he made a new one today. I haven't had a chance to watch, but it just pieces together the hypocrisy from that interview and the things that Steve said in the past, right? And it's so perfect.
I'm watching it right after this.
Even though when he's talking about not I didn't do this with that person or whatever and all this kind of stuff, Suge brings up the video of the live stream where they're talking to each other about certain discords and what they're called and all this kind of stuff, and that he sent these pictures in and pictures of other people, and this, that, and the third. Like, it is crazy the hypocrisy with this guy. And
he just straight lied to Wes. He tried to get one over on Chris Hansen and Wes. He tried to have them expose his fall girl as the one who did everything so that he could dip out. And what I think is happening, I hope, is that Chris and Wes actually, unlike many other people, are looking at the fucking evidence and saying, hold on a minute, this motherfucker's the leader. And then if they say, well, we might be wrong. What if we're wrong? All they got to do is look at everything he's done going back 5 years, because every day he has a harassment campaign active. Is there ever a time you've known that he hasn't had an active harassment campaign? Maybe. Honestly.
No, not at all. if it's not you or like Menace and others and KJ and all this kind of stuff, then he goes after people in the atheist community.
Exactly. We
You
can
know,
go
and all this
back.
kind of,
We can go back to
always
Kyle.
somebody.
We can go back to that guy that died. What was that atheist that died? What was his name? Bill
Oh,
Ludlow.
Bill Ludlow, yeah,
Oh yeah. We can go
that was
back to
sick.
the end. We can go back to the beginning of time. All right. I got to go. My phone's going to die. Navy, thank you. I'm really appreciate you coming in here, man, because I think we need to do this more and talk to the people. And the
Thanks for
people
having me on.
listening, I really want to have you come on if you're comfortable. I don't want anyone being targeted, of course. So that's why I prefer for a creator to come up here, someone who talks often. But if you do want to, I'm not going to stop you in the future. And thank you for watching. Make sure you follow me, okay? Turn on the bell on my channels. You guys know what to do. You guys are really supportive. For those of you that have followed me in documenting the harassment that he has done to people actively for 5 years on the internet, thank you. I delivered in a way. I delivered my predictions. I never told you I was going to do it. I just told you we would get some result. And I hope this is the result. Even if it doesn't happen, he's already lost everything. But it would be nice to get a little bit of justice for some of those people in the past that aren't around anymore because of this man and his jealousy.